Greetings, friends. I'm AK.
And I'm Laura.
And we are the
Chainsaw Girls. On today's episode, I can't believe it's taken this long, but we are finally covering 1978's Halloween, baby.
And how fitting it's for Halloween.
Woohoo! We are in Halloween week.
Yes.
We are finally here. It's the best time of the year.
It's so interesting how we've gone backwards in this franchise. Did we start with H2O?
I think we started with H2O.
And then we did Halloween 3. Recently, we did Halloween 2, semi-recently.
Yeah.
And now we're going to the OG.
The OG. How fucking fantastic is this movie?
I mean, it's a classic. We both got our Halloween gear on. If you're watching on YouTube,
Hell
you
yes.
have a sweet ass flannel. I was about to say sick and sweet at the same time. I said sweet.
Sweet. It's a little, it's a little flannel. It has a little tiny Michael Myers face on it, and it's from Middle of Beyond, and it's super cozy. And they also have socks with his face on it, and this blanket is like a big VHS of Halloween.
It's so cute. I'm just wearing a Halloween 2 shirt that I've worn probably a bunch of times on this podcast.
It's a great shirt, though.
And it's comfy, and I don't know where it's from.
I love it. It's so cute. So Halloween had a budget of $300,000 to $325,000, and it grossed $70 million in the box office. And I would say it's probably made a hell of a lot more over the years since then.
It had to have.
It was written by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill and was directed by John Carpenter.
Hell yeah.
Shall I read IMDb?
Please do.
Let's do it. 15 years after murdering his sister on Halloween night, 1963, Michael Myers escapes from a mental hospital and returns to the small town of Haddonfield, Illinois to kill again. Yes, he does.
He sure does.
Surely does. When was the first time you saw Halloween?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh.
I can't remember. But I would have seen it when I was real young, I'm sure.
Yeah, you were younger. I didn't see it when I was really young. I don't think I saw it until I was maybe 12, 13.
Okay.
It wasn't one of the ones that I saw early on.
Yeah, I probably would have seen it around the same age, but I also didn't really watch horror when I was younger.
Yeah, we've talked about that. And I would like to know your thoughts on Michael Myers as a killer, because I feel like we differ in opinion here.
Well, we talked about this before. My hot take.
Yeah.
I do like Michael. I mean, I have Michael shirts. I'm willing to talk about him on the podcast.
I'm glad you're willing.
But I think I've mentioned before that he's not my favorite of the horror icons. And I think the main reason is because he doesn't talk. So you already know I love a man with charisma.
Me too.
So Freddy Krueger, Chucky, they're fun to watch. They're funny to watch,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
especially later on in the franchises. But with Michael, there's the element of, you know, no offense, but he has no personality. Okay. He does not have Riz. Michael Myers does not have Riz.
Okay, that's fair. He doesn't have any Riz, no.
And once we get later on in the franchise and like he can't be killed seemingly, I start to go, okay, like I need a weakness here. I need something.
Okay, but he's established right from the beginning that he is like pure evil.
True. That's very true.
And
I don't hate him. I don't hate him.
But you don't love him.
I don't love
Oh,
him.
I love him.
But I do really enjoy the movies. And that's okay.
AK, you know I love a guy in a mask.
You do. You do. Is that your number one favorite feature about Michael? Why do you love him?
Well, he actually scares me.
Okay.
So a lot of the big icons of horror I wouldn't say they actually scare me.
Mm-hmm.
Michael terrifies me
Why?
because he's unstoppable, because he has no conscience, because he has no, like with Jason, you can have a level of compassion for Jason because, you know, he was tormented at camp and drowned and had, you know, a hard time. So there's some compassion there. With Michael, he is just a killing machine. He's quiet. He seemingly comes out of nowhere a lot of the times. He's relentless.
Yes.
But he's also tall.
Stop.
No, I love Michael. I think he's and I love this movie. I think it's one of the best, if not the best slashers. My favorite slasher is Black Christmas, but this is up there as one of my favorite slashers.
Oh yeah, it's a classic. And you can see where so many other horror movies were influenced by this one when you're watching it back.
Oh my God. And the fact that they had such a low budget, like $300,000 is nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing. And it's so well done. The atmosphere, the fact that it was like shot in spring, but it had to look like fall. So they had to use like decor leaves that they spray painted to make them look like fall leaves and then sprinkled them around
everywhere.
And I guess I believe it was Robert Englund. There was an interview with Robert Englund that he says that he actually helped sprinkle the leaves one day.
Okay.
Which I thought was really random and kind of funny. But I just love when an indie flick ends up becoming such a huge success, and that is Halloween.
I do love that.
And the music.
Oh, don't even get me started on the music.
Dude, the music. Sometimes when I just need to like hype myself up, or like even in the mornings when like I get up in the morning, it's super early, I make a coffee, I turn on my twinkle lights, I put on my little fireplace, and then I play the Halloween theme, and I just fucking vibe, man.
That song instills fear in me.
Oh.
That is where I feel fear. Not so much Michael Myers, but the song.
Well, yeah, I mean, the score is just incredible. I mean, John Carpenter is an amazing musician, and it's just such a fucking awesome. Like everything, actually, every single song in it, like all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I love like that sort of like when you see Laurie, like Laurie has her own kind of sound, like song, and yeah,
even the high pitched sound that they make whenever they're supposed to be fear, like they're directing you to look at something, and I don't even know what I'm looking at yet, but I'm scared.
Yeah, dude. No, I just love it. I watch it over and over. I mean, at least once a year. Yeah. And I love the second one too. And I love all the installments. In fact, I'm working on for Patreon and potentially socials at some point, but I'm working on the Halloween timelines.
I need it, especially because we've been going backwards. I really need the timeline now.
It's a project. I'm not going to lie. I'm making a PowerPoint and it's kind of taking a while, but we'll get there. I promise I will get there. Should we hop into the movie and I'll kind of sprinkle along some fun tidbits as we go?
Absolutely, because I know we are starting out hot with the theme song.
Oh boy, are we fucking ever.
With the credits.
Yes, we've got the opening credits, which are a classic. We see our pumpkin, our jack-o'-lantern, right? And actually, this jack-o'-lantern was cut or... Carved is the word I'm looking for, by Tommy Lee Wallace, who is the co-editor and production designer. And he actually directed Halloween 3. Thought that was kind of a fun little tidbit.
Yeah, that's cool.
And we see that Donald Pleasance is the first to be introduced in the film. Do you know he only shot for 5 days?
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
And when we get to the end, I'll talk about his take on the movie at first, like what his thoughts were when he first read the script and how he felt about it.
Oh, I can't wait.
We'll talk about it at the end. It's very interesting.
Yeah, because he's not as unhinged yet in this movie, right?
He's not, but he is quoted as saying that like some of the things he says in this film are very questionable, and like a regular person wouldn't say those things. Okay. But we can talk about that later. Yeah. So yes, and then we are introduced to Jamie Lee Curtis. This is her first film.
Yeah.
Which is very awesome.
Our final girl.
Yes. And then we zoom into the eyeball of the jack-o'-lantern. And we are in Haddonfield, Illinois on Halloween night, 1963. We pan into the Myers house, and we're kind of walking around. We walk around the back of the house, and we see two teenagers making out, right? And this is Michael's sister.
Yes.
And she mentions like, oh, I don't know, Michael's around here somewhere. Oh yeah, he's somewhere.
Yeah, and it already seems like, wait, are we looking through the POV of someone?
Right, exactly, which I love.
Yeah.
So much. So good. And it's Michael walking around. The music, it's so intense. Michael, we find out, is walking around. And he goes into the kitchen and he grabs a big old knife.
A big old knife.
So that is Deb Hill's hand. So I thought it was I listened to the commentary. John Carpenter and Jamie Lee Curtis do the commentary on the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So I listened to that and I got some really fun facts about it. But so it's actually baby Michael, and he's in a little clown costume. He walks around the house and he is looking for his big sister and her boyfriend.
Yeah, and the whole time you're only seeing his POV. So if you're watching this for the first time, imagine watching it in the theaters when it came out and you don't know what POV you're seeing. You do eventually see him reach down, you see his hand grab something off the floor. And you're like, wait a minute. Like, you can see it's a costume. You're like, is this a child? What's going on?
No, 100%. Yes. And the camera's like kind of a little bit shaky. Yeah. Yeah. It's done really well. It really does feel like his POV.
Yeah. And he hears the boyfriend. I thought this was funny. He hears the boyfriend say something to the sister along the lines of, It's getting late. I gotta go. And he goes down the stairs because they went upstairs.
Right.
He goes downstairs and leaves. And I'm thinking, wait, did they hook up or no?
I think they might have. Because she's naked.
She's naked. But then, okay, so we see him go downstairs and he's fully clothed. I swear he was only up there for 1 minute.
I mean,
this poor girl is having the worst night of her life.
I couldn't have been a good time.
He is fully clothed.
Emilio, don't cut that. I was clapping because I was laughing. Oh my God. No, you're totally right. Yeah, that's a great question.
But yeah, then he does go upstairs.
Yeah, she's at her vanity. She's kind of brushing her hair and she's startled by him.
Yeah.
As anyone would be. He walks up to her in his little clown costume and just stabs the ever living shit out of her.
Yeah, from once again his POV. And then she's on the floor, titties out, dead.
Yeah.
No, that sounds insensitive, but
dead though. He goes downstairs and his parents come home and dad takes his mask off and then we see sort of like this bewildered looking child and then they just pan out.
Yeah, so I imagine this was very shocking at the time. Like, oh, that was a child that just did this.
Oh yeah, for sure. And just like the visual of the parents like looking at him and he's got the knife. It's just very unsettling, especially for them. They're probably like, what the fuck is happening
here?
In
my memory, I feel like the knife is half the size of his body.
I was just about to say the knife is literally half of his body.
Really?
It's fucking huge.
It's gigantic.
Biggest butcher knife I've ever seen in my life. Okay. So now we're cutting to Smith Grove, Illinois. It's October 30th, 1978. And Dr. Loomis is driving with a nurse. This is Marion Crane.
Yeah.
And we're going to see a couple of homages here to the original Psycho. For instance, Dr. Loomis, Sam Loomis, is a direct homage to Sam Loomis, who was Marion Crane's boyfriend in the original Psycho. So love that. And I love the original Psycho. And we have to cover the OG Psycho.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so fucking good. And then obviously the nurse being named Marion Crane. Also homage to Psycho. So they're discussing moving a patient from Smith Grove. Okay, we will find out that this is Michael. And basically, Dr. Loomis is explaining to her that she doesn't have anything to worry about moving Michael, so much so that he hasn't spoken anything in like 15 years.
Yeah.
And because she's kind of like, as she would be, she's a little worried about interacting with him.
Yeah, and she's even asking him, okay, so you don't ever want him to get out of this place? Why are we even bringing him to somewhere where he can rehabilitate,
Right. And they're actually taking him, they're moving him because he's going to find out basically like what's going to happen to him the rest of his life. Because he's got to be, I don't know if he's up for parole or what the fuck is going on, but it's something to that effect, right?
Yeah.
But he does say to her, he's like, he doesn't speak, but don't underestimate him.
Yeah.
Right. He hasn't spoken in 15 years. He does refer to Michael as it. And she kind of questions him on that, like the ethics of that. And he basically says to her, like, she's like, I don't really think you should refer to him as it. And he's like, well, if you say so.
Yeah.
Right. And I already love that they're kind of like setting the tone that Michael might not be human.
Yes. Like pure evil. He says he has the blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
The devil's fucking eyes. Loomis also suggests giving him Thorazine, which I had to look into because I was so curious as to what that was. But it's basically a first generation antipsychotic that was developed in the 50s. And it actually is still prescribed today.
Oh.
So it's like a very heavy sedative.
Yeah.
Right. Marion asks him a bit more and Loomis kind of confirms that he never wants Michael to ever be able to get out. He needs to stay locked up forever. And he's very uncomfortable with this whole situation and even moving him out of the facility. Right.
Yeah.
So they pull up and we see that there are patients kind of running loose outside. And obviously this is very startling to Marion and also to Loomis. Loomis is more immediately just concerned.
Yeah, she's like, oh, since when do they let them roam around outside at night?
Yes, and it is kind of very disturbing. It's dark out. All they can see is just their headlights, right? And Loomis is definitely spooked by this, but we see a patient run up because Loomis gets out of the car because he wants to see what's going on. We see a patient run up to Marion's car and climb onto the fucking roof, dude. She rolls her window down as I imagine she's trying to like see like what is happening.
Right.
And this person reaches into the window, grabs her by the hair, and there's kind of like this struggle. She manages to like get out through the passenger side over to like the passenger side seat, and this person smashes the driver's side window. She does end up getting out, and the dude jumps in the car and drives off. Loomis is yelling, and he's just going, he's gone from here. The evil is gone.
So maybe he is a little unhinged already.
He's already very Dr. Loomis.
He really did a great job stressing the importance of how dangerous Michael is. So, I mean, I do understand why he'd be losing it. Like, you don't understand what just happened.
1,000,000% yes. Like, because he's been his doctor for so fucking long, like he knows, and we'll find out as the movie goes on, but he does talk about how anytime he interacted with Michael, like it was like he would be looking into a wall and just staring right through it, right? So there's just like nothing behind the eyes. He's just dead. So now we're in Haddonfield, and it is Halloween night. The piano and the music is so epic. We know it's amazing. We pan around, and it is a pretty normal looking suburban neighborhood, right? One thing that I thought was interesting is they used a huge fucking chunk of the budget on the type of cameras that they used. They used Panavision cameras so that the film would have a 235-1 scope. So that is sort of like that atmospheric. See how it's like a very long lines, like you can really feel like. Kind of how we were talking about in It Follows.
That's what I was just thinking about, yeah.
Yeah, it's just this very wide shot, and it just adds so much to the film. So it makes sense that they would use half the budget on that, right?
When you said they used the majority of the budget, I thought you were going to say on the leaves. On all the fake leaves.
On all the leaves. Oh, my God. So, yes, we're in Haddonfield. It's Halloween. Laurie, we're introduced to Laurie here. She's leaving her house. Her dad reminds her to drop the key off at the Myers house. Leave it under the mat, right? A little boy joins her, which we will find out is Tommy. This is a kid that she babysits. And he asks her he's asking her all of the things that they can do on Halloween because she's going to be watching him that night, right? And she's like, can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this? So fucking annoying. And she's like, yeah. She's like, yeah. We can do all those things, right? They seem to have a pretty good relationship.
Yeah.
Right? Good rapport. So we approach the Myers house, and it is looking rough. It is a dilapidated, boarded up shithole.
Yeah. And her dad is a real estate agent, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he is going to be selling this house, allegedly.
Good fucking luck. So when she approaches the house, Tommy warns her, you shouldn't go up there. It's haunted. Everyone in the neighborhood knows that it's haunted. Don't go up there. And she's kind of like, whatever, Tommy.
Yeah.
So she approaches the house to put the key under the mat, and we can hear sort of this like muffled breathing coming from inside the house. So someone is definitely watching her drop that key off.
Yeah.
We will soon find out it is our friend, Mikey. So Tommy is like off to the side, kind of watching this, like in disbelief that she has the balls to go up there. And we then see a silhouette. As they're walking away, we see a silhouette standing out from the shadows looking at Laurie as Tommy is explaining to her that it's like a haunted house. Michael steps outside and watches her walk away.
Yeah.
So if we're only going by the OG Halloween and we're not considering the sequels where Laurie is, spoiler alert, his sister, this seemingly would be Michael's introduction to Laurie.
Okay. And maybe where he had a fascination with her or fixation on her.
Right.
Okay.
Now, we can guesstimate why. Maybe it's because he didn't like that she came to his house. Maybe it's because it reminds him of his sister.
Yeah.
Could be a million reasons. I don't believe the original intent, as far as everything that I've read on this movie and watched on this movie, the original intent wasn't to have Laurie be his sister at all.
Okay.
That did not come into play until Halloween 2.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. So here we can just assume he is a stalker that is fascinated with Laurie Strode.
Yep.
So we're going to cut back to Loomis, and he's talking to Dr. Wynn, and he's discussing basically how Michael escaped from the institution. And Loomis is stressing to Wynn that, you know, I told everybody that they shouldn't have attempted to move him, but you guys still did it anyways. And he stresses to him that he has to alert the authorities about where Michael is going. Loomis has an idea in his head of where Michael is headed to. He does believe he's going back to Haddonfield, right?
Yeah.
And Dr. Wynn is like, well, I doubt that he can drive 150 miles to Haddonfield. And Loomis is like, well, he didn't seem to have an issue driving away, so maybe somebody taught him how to drive while he was here.
Yeah, and I love that he addressed that because I remember that being a thing where even I was like, wait, why is he driving a car?
Exactly, dude.
How did he learn how to drive a car? He's been locked up since he was a child.
Exactly. It's insane. It's insane. And it is important that they address it right off the hop.
Right.
For sure. There's a scene in this movie where like he's waiting at a stop sign to turn, and every time it comes on, I just cry laughing.
Regardless of how he learned how to drive, seeing him drive a car with that fucking mask on is so funny.
It's so funny. Oh my God. So we're going to cut back here to Laurie. She's at school. She's in class. And the teacher, or the class that she's in, they're discussing an author. The author's name is Samuels. And the teacher is quoted as saying, and the book ends, but what Samuels is really talking about here is fate. You see, fate caught up with several lives here. No matter what course of action Collins took, he was destined to his own fate, his own day of reckoning with himself. The idea is that destiny is a very real, concrete thing that every person has to deal with. How does Samuel's view of fate differ from that of Constantine's? And she asks Laurie. And Laurie responds with, Constantine wrote that fate was somehow related only to religion, where Samuel's felt that, well, fate was like a natural element, like earth, air, fire, and water. And this whole discussion, first of all, Samuels is not a real author, but the entire discussion kind of touches on the themes of this movie and Laurie kind of meeting her unstoppable fate or unstoppable force as Michael / the boogeyman, and how like he is kind of a natural unstoppable element, right?
I also love how she had an answer for it because it looked like she wasn't paying attention, right? She's looking out the window.
Right.
And so the teacher tried to catch her off guard, but she knew the answer.
She did. She is a smart gal. And essentially how like meeting Michael is like Laurie meeting her destiny, right? And then to further prove that point, when she looks out the window, Michael is standing by his car staring at her. But then she turns and looks back and he's gone.
And how many movies have done this scene since?
We just covered A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And I think It Follows as well, right?
Did they do that in that one too? Yeah. Yeah, they did.
So love that. So now we're going to cut to Tommy. He's at school. He's carrying a big old pumpkin, and a few of the kids are fucking with him.
Little shitheads.
The worst. They're mocking him, and they're telling him that the boogeyman is coming.
Oh my gosh, they keep repeating it over and over and over. It's actually really annoying.
It's so infuriating. I'm like, can you all just... Anyway, I was going to say something really mean, but I won't because they're children. So they are tormenting poor Tommy to the point that he ends up dropping his big pumpkin. And the kids kind of like run off. And as one of them are running, the kid runs right into Michael.
Yeah.
Michael grabs this child by his shoulders, like by both his arms, stopping him, and then lets him go.
And remember, no one knows what he looks like. And okay, so it's Halloween. I understand why he can get away with wearing a mask around town, even though it's earlier in the day, which I think is a little sus looking.
Yeah.
I was also thinking, because it's earlier in the day, if you didn't wear a mask, no one knows what you look like. But I guess he's thinking, you know, the doctor knows what he looks like. The people who are looking for him knows what he looks like.
Right.
And, you know, he's getting away with it because no one knows this is Michael Myers. We have to run from this guy in a mask yet.
100%. Yes, exactly. And, you know, there are things like, for example, him hanging out at a school. Here, what's going to end up happening is that he lets the kid go, but then he just stands there and he's watching Tommy. And Tommy's kind of walking away really sad. And Michael gets in his car and just starts following him. And I think if that happened now, obviously there are cameras, people are more alerted to that. But in 1978, like, I don't know that it would be that alarming, which I can't wrap my fucking head around. But in any event, I think he looks like a straight up pedophile at this point. Like, just standing at the school watching this kid.
Very concerning.
Very concerning. But Tommy doesn't notice. Okay, he just keeps on his path, right? So now we're going to cut to Loomis, who is on a payphone. He's talking to police, and he's basically telling them that Michael is coming to Haddonfield, and you all need to be ready for him. If not, it's their funeral.
He straight up says that and then hangs up.
Yes, Loomis is on a mission. right from the get-go.
And he gives zero fucks, honestly.
Oh, no. I mean, as the series goes on, he gets more and more unhinged, but so he also notices like an abandoned truck from an auto shop kind of off to the side. And it also looks like Michael's hospital gown and shit is like scattered around near this truck, right? So this right away explains why Michael is in a mechanic's like jumper.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
And first of all, that mechanic's jumper, like, I just think it's the best, like, scary costume that I would never think is scary. But because it's Michael, it's fucking scary.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I thought you were going to say it's hot.
I mean, I don't not think it's hot. So Loomis then picks up a matchbook. And the matchbook is the Rabbit in Red Lounge. And important to note that we first see this matchbook earlier when Marion lights her cigarette in the car with Loomis. So that's why that's kind of significant to Loomis here. He's like, oh, okay, wait, this was in Marion's car.
Yeah.
Right? So he realizes here he's on the right track, that Michael is definitely heading to Haddonfield. Then the camera pans and we see the dead mechanic's body kind of chilling there at the side. So we can deduce Michael fucking killed him.
Right.
So now we're going to cut back. We're in Haddonfield again, and Laurie and Linda are leaving school. They're kind of chatting about school shit, nothing too serious. Laurie tells Linda she has nothing to do on Halloween. She's just babysitting. Then they're joined by Annie. And I want to say, like, I really love the dynamic between the three girls because they really do genuinely seem like friends.
Yeah, they almost are bickering a little bit.
Bickering, bantering,
yeah,
right? We find out that Paul dragged Annie into the boys' locker room to tell her that he's grounded.
Yeah.
Okay. Laurie looks back and she remembers like, oh, I forgot my chemistry book. I got to go get my chemistry book. And the girls are like, oh, no, don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. But as this is happening, Michael is driving down the street staring at them.
Oh my gosh. And while Laurie is distracted by this, the one girl keeps going on and on. She's like, I always forget my chemistry book and my biology book and my math book, all my books. Actually, I don't need any books. It's like, damn, girl.
I want to say that's Linda. Is it PJ Souls, I think?
I forget which one it was.
I'm pretty sure it's PJ Souls. So it is such like a high school thing. Just like, blah, 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 just yapping, right?
And I know they needed to have something in the background fading as Laurie's distracted, but it was just so funny.
Yeah, no, for real. So Michael is driving past them when Annie yells out, "Speed kills." And I mean, he just like abruptly slams on the brakes and he just kind of hangs out there for a second.
Why did my dumbass think she was talking about the drug? Maybe because we just covered a movie that talked about speed.
Oh, maybe. Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't know, but I was like, oh, duh. She's talking. And I don't think he was speeding. Maybe that's also why I didn't realize it at first.
He really wasn't. That was just like, it's totally just that like, she just wanted to yell something at him.
Because they also think it's another kid from their class.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So Michael ends up driving away.
Yep.
So we think.
And Laurie's like, you're going to get us in big trouble one day. I think it was Annie.
Annie, yeah. So Annie is more of the outspoken one of the group. Laurie is, I would say, I don't want to say like goody-goody, but she's more of the like keeps straight and narrow.
Yes.
You know, she does smoke weed a little bit later, but you can tell it's kind of foreign to her.
Yeah, she mentions at one point boys aren't interested in her because she's too smart.
Yeah, exactly. She's really into school, things like that. So the girls are kind of like joking about it. We find out that Annie is babysitting for the Wallaces. And then Linda is going to go over there with her boyfriend to hang out with them and I guess hook up. Whereas Laurie is babysitting for the Doyles. And that's Tommy. We met him earlier. And the houses that they're babysitting on, it's all very close together, right? So they're going to be in close proximity on Halloween night. Annie is pretty bummed out that Paul can't hang out with her. And that's kind of like what they're talking about. The music here adds so much tension because you know that shit is building. You just don't know what is going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? So the girls kind of continue on. Linda goes home and Annie kind of like starts digging around in her purse for something. And as she's digging, Laurie looks up and sees Michael like standing beside a hedge, like a very, very tall hedge. In fact, I don't have it out, but I have a bobblehead of him behind the hedge.
Oh yeah, we've put it out before for episodes.
Yeah. All my Michael stuff is up in my toy room, but he's watching her.
Yeah, I think this image is iconic. I think they use it for a lot of memes.
Oh, it's the best. He looks like an absolute creep.
Yeah.
Like in his mask, just staring. And Laurie is obviously startled by this, and she points it out to Annie. But by the time Annie looks up, Michael's gone. And Annie, I actually really like Annie. Like, she's definitely got fire behind her. Annie's like, because Laurie's like, that guy that was driving, he's right there. And Annie's like, oh yeah, well, let's go see. And she just like storms right up to the hedge. And then she pretends like it's a guy behind the hedge wanting to like talk to Laurie and ask her out to like the dance or something. Right? So Laurie kind of like runs up out of curiosity. And of course, there's nobody actually there. And Annie's basically saying to her, like, don't let your fear get the better of you. Like, you know, whatever. You're taking things too seriously, blah, blah, blah. And also we find out that Laurie never goes on dates.
Yeah.
Okay. So Laurie walks home. She definitely seems spooked by this whole situation, like anyone would.
Yeah,
right?
she's seen him too many times for it to be a coincidence at this point.
Oh, hell, I would be so scared for sure. As she's walking around, she bumps into Annie's dad, who is the sheriff, and it startles her. And here he says the iconic line, "It's Halloween. I guess everyone is entitled to one good scare." Love it. The best. Iconic. So Laurie continues her walk, and we see some kids trick-or-treating. And she says a line here that I had to look into because she's watching these kids trick-or-treat. And to herself, she says, "Well, kiddo, I thought you outgrew the superstition." So I had to look this up.
Yeah.
All right. So apparently the line was written by Deb Hill, and it refers to Laurie being spooked by Michael. But as she returns home and she sees like the kids trick-or-treating, she sort of reflects for a second and realizes she's just being irrational or like superstitious. There is no boogeyman. And that's kind of what she was almost like self-soothing herself here. Okay. I don't know. That line always stood out to me, and I always wanted to kind of understand where it was coming from.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, wait, what does she mean by that? What superstition? Exactly. I'm glad you looked into it.
So Laurie goes inside her house, and she looks out the window, and she sees Michael standing in the yard in between sheets, like hanging on a clothesline.
Yeah.
Couple of things about this. One, it's iconic.
Yes, it's another one that's used for a lot of memes.
A lot of memes, yes. And two, I don't know how accurate this is, so don't quote me, guys. Or quote me, go ahead, whatever. But I read a couple of places that this was an editing error.
Oh.
That it didn't make sense for Michael to be in her backyard at this point. So I don't know if that's true or not. I'm sure like Halloween enthusiasts that are like experts will know that, but if you're interested at all, Google it and tell me what you find, because that's what I found about it.
I'm gonna look into it while you're talking. I also noticed in this scene, it's such a little silly thing, but that Laurie has an Raggedy Ann doll on her dresser.
Yeah.
Which is like the real Annabelle doll, or the real Annabelle, quote unquote, is a Raggedy Ann doll.
Right.
And I was just thinking, imagine a Halloween Annabelle crossover. It's planted. It's been planted since 1978. They can do it if they wanted to.
No, that's wild. Do you like the Annabelle movies?
They're not my favorite.
Yeah. Okay.
But I haven't watched all of them.
Same. I haven't watched them all either. Okay. So the phone rings. It startles her a little bit. She answers it, and we hear like a muffling sound, but nobody's answering her. So she hangs up. The phone rings again, and it just ends up being Annie on the other line. And basically she's like, well, didn't you hear me chewing? It was just me. I called you. Like, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
Right? But we find out here that she's going to pick Laurie up at 6:30 tonight. Laurie, I think at this point, is not only exhausted from probably school and stuff, I would say the fear has like, she's worn out.
Yeah.
So she lays down and she just kind of self-soothes again herself here, right? And she realizes like, she's being a bit over the top here, thinking that she's being stalked, which I feel like all of us would react that way. Like we would try to rationalize, right? Like,
you saw this man how many times? 3 at least? We've seen him more than that, but she saw him in the car. She saw him at the hedge, and now she's seeing him in her backyard.
Yeah, like, so I think it's that thing of her going like, am I really seeing this or am I just losing it? You know, so she kind of rationalized a little bit. Later on in the night, she leaves with a big pumpkin and she meets Annie outside. And I keep putting this music over because the music is just, it adds so, can you imagine if it didn't have the sound, like if it didn't have this score?
No, I can't.
It would be a completely different movie.
I cannot imagine that. It's worth putting over so many different times. Like, it is a huge part of making this film iconic.
No, 100%.
I know we use iconic a lot, but it is. Well, this movie is.
With this, we can use it. And if you're paying close attention, you can see that, I mean, even if you're not paying close attention, but I'm sure now that it's being pointed out to you, all of the trees in the neighborhood are very lush and green. The grass is really green. There are no dead leaves. And the only place there are dead leaves is when Laurie leaves her house. We see a bunch of dead leaves everywhere. And as she crosses the street, there are no more dead leaves.
That's so funny. I definitely did not pick that up.
You wouldn't unless you've watched it about 100 times like I have. Yeah. So Annie picks her up and the song The End of School by Coupe de Villes is playing. And Coupe de Villes is actually a band that John Carpenter, Nick Castles, and Tommy Lee Wallace were in.
Oh.
And that band actually went on to make the theme song to Big Trouble in Little China, which was John Carpenter's 1986 film.
Oh.
Kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
And the next song that comes on is one of my favorite fucking songs ever, Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult, as they light up a big fat J.
And so Halloween was the first movie to play this in a horror.
Wow.
It was. And how many horrors use this? I feel like it's in every other horror movie now.
100%.
But it's at least a great choice.
It reminds me of this movie called The Stoned Age that I watched when I was like 14.
I think you did tell me that before. Yeah.
I haven't seen it since then. And I'm not going to say it was a good movie, but it was a weird one. So meanwhile, Dr. Loomis is walking with a groundskeeper at the local cemetery. And basically he's going to check out Judith Meyer's grave. And Judith Myers was Michael's sister that he killed, right? Mm. The groundskeeper is yapping.
Oh my gosh.
Yapping. He's kind of going off about like some family, some guy that like brought a hacksaw home and started killing his family. It's very not important information that he's bombarding poor Dr. Loomis with.
It also feels inappropriate. They're walking through the cemetery when he's saying this, and right before he says what the guy did, Loomis cuts him off.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like he's just yapping to yap, yeah. Right? And as they're approaching what would be Judith's grave, we see that it's totally been dug up and the tombstone is gone, right? The body's gone. The hole doesn't look that big. Sorry.
I think so too. I was like, oh.
It's a real small hole.
Like, what, did they bury her ashes or something? Well, no, but.
But Loomis mumbles to himself, he's come back. Oh boy.
He's come home.
So Laurie and Annie are driving and we see that somebody is tailing them. Of course, Annie doesn't notice this. Annie's in her own little world. They are smoking a big fat J, right?
Oh, yeah.
Annie tells her she's going to watch Dr. Dementia while eating popcorn and traumatizing the children tonight. Annie notices her dad and tells Laurie to lose the fucking joint. And Michael obviously is 100% following them here. This is where we see him stopping at the stop sign or the stoplight or whatever it is. So they pull over and they meet the sheriff, which is Annie's dad. And he's at the hardware store and the alarms are going off. And basically the dad explains to them like a couple of kids probably broke into the hardware store and they stole a couple of Halloween masks, a couple of knives, and a rope.
Interesting.
So here is where we find out where Michael got his mask.
Yes.
You were asking earlier. So does that sound like kids? I don't fucking think it does, but okay, sheriff. They pull away as Dr. Loomis is approaching the sheriff. Loomis cracks me up because like he will not take no for an answer.
No.
Like he is determined. So Annie and Laurie, they take off. Laurie is kind of worried that the sheriff is going to smell the weed, but Annie assures her like, you know, whatever. They're kind of bantering a little bit. Laurie is discussing her dating life. We find out here again, look, Laurie's pretty shy, but she does have a crush on Ben Tramer.
Yes.
And Michael is still following them in his fucking beater. Okay. And they must have been driving for a little bit here because now it's nighttime. Mm-hmm. So it's probably like, I used to do that when I was in high school, just like drive. Actually, I still go for drives.
Yeah, that used to be a thing.
It still is. If I need to clear my head, I hop in my car, I put on music, and I just go for a ride.
I don't because I hate spending money on gas. However, I feel like I get that out on road trips.
Yeah. No, totally. If I'm craving a road trip and I have nowhere to go, I will just hop on the 90 and just go for a drive. So it's nighttime. The breathing behind the mask is so fucking creepy. You can like really hear that muffled sound. And Michael watches it as Annie drops off Laurie. And then he watches Annie pull into the driveway across the street. So now Michael knows exactly where these girls are for the night, right? Michael gets out and approaches the house, watching Annie as she goes inside the Wallace's house. And Wallace, the name Wallace, is likely a nod to Tommy Lee Wallace, who I mentioned earlier, is the co-editor and production designer on the film.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Me too.
So Loomis and the sheriff go to the Myers home together. And a couple of things about the Myers home, by the way, the original house did look like a shithole. And then they had to like soup it up for the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. So like the actual house when they were filming actually looked like that dilapidated, crapshoot. Mm-hmm. But then for the beginning of the movie, they had to dress it all up and make it look like a nice functioning home. Yeah. Which I thought was interesting because normally it's the flip side. It's normally a nice house that they like rough up, right? Yeah. So any hoogly boos. We find out that nobody has lived in that home since Michael killed his sister in 1963. The sheriff confirms that the kids in Haddonfield believe that the house is haunted, and which also tracks with what Tommy Doyle was telling Laurie earlier. They also discover the remains of a dog, and the body is still warm. So Michael's been chilling in this house recently.
Yeah, or at least someone has been killing dogs in this house.
Absolutely. Why he killed the dog, nobody knows.
They really want to make people hate him.
I agree. And Loomis does remark here that he got hungry. And I don't think it means hungry for food, if you catch my drift.
Hungry for blood.
What's weird here is that the sheriff thinks it might have been a skunk that killed the dog.
That's crazy.
And I was like, okay, sheriff, that's a theory.
Where do you even come up with that? What kind of skunks are you seeing in this neighborhood?
That's what I'm saying. And his rationale is, well, a man couldn't do that.
So a skunk could?
What? Sheriff.
What do you mean a man couldn't? Like,
maybe I read it wrong, but I've seen this movie so many times, and every single time he says that, I'm like, sir, what?
I love that you live in this bubble.
Yeah.
But
like, no. Are your skunks like on growth? Like, how big are these skunks? So then Loomis, in his Loomis way, says, Michael isn't a man. He's so intense.
He really is.
So they continue to kind of go through the house. And then Loomis now recounts the story of the night that Michael killed his sister. And he kind of peers out the window and he tells the sheriff that Michael could have likely seen his sister through this window if he was standing on the front lawn. Mm-hmm. And just as he's explaining this, something crashes through, which looks like a traffic light. I don't know if that's exactly what it is because it's kind of dark, but something crashes through the window, startling the shit out of Loomis, who immediately pulls out and draws his gun.
He is ready.
Like, he is ready to rip. And in the sequels, you will see he has no problem firing that bad boy off.
I was going to say, he hasn't shot him 6 times yet, at least.
6 times!
6 times I shot him.
The sheriff has the same look on his face as I do when Loomis pulls the gun out and is like, yo, bro, what the fuck?
You can't do that. I'm sure laws were even looser back then, but you can't just pull your gun out like that.
No, exactly. And Loomis kind of jokes and he's like, look, I've got a permit. I'll show you my papers. Right?
That's not what the permit lets you do, I don't think. I don't know about 1978, but okay.
Yeah, right? But the sheriff just tells him straight up, like, you just seem scared. Mm-hmm. And he is scared, and Loomis agrees with him. Yeah, I'm fucking scared.
Then you definitely should not be pulling out a gun.
Well, I think also, Sheriff, if I'm this scared, I'm a grown-ass man, and I've known this guy for 15 years. I've been his doctor, and this is how scared I am.
That's true.
Maybe you should be a little scared.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
But anyways, he goes on to tell the sheriff that he met Michael 15 years ago and that there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding. And even the most rudimentary sense of life and death, of good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. In my notes, I wrote, Loomis is that person at a party that corners you and divulges the most whack-ass stories about themselves, even when you didn't ask.
Oh, they walk up to you and they immediately start talking about themselves without reading the room at all. And you're just like, uh-huh.
Do you know what we call people like that? Punishers. So he then goes on to say that he spent 6 years trying to reach Michael, right? And then another 7 years trying to keep him locked up because he realized that living behind the boy's eyes was purely and simply evil. Like, can you imagine someone telling you that?
About a 6-year-old?
Like,
that is crazy.
You'd be like, so what was your family history like?
Because it really sounds like Loomis, okay, he's been his doctor for so long, but he makes it sound like the second he met him at 6 years old, he made this decision about him, and that's just been it ever since. So I'm like, did you try to rehab him at all? Like, did you try?
It's hard to say too, right? Because he does say he spent 6 years trying and 7 years realizing.
Okay, yeah.
So he did. I don't think Loomis is, I mean, if you spent 6 years with a patient and got nowhere and realize, like, maybe you would just come to the conclusion that, yeah, because like, what is that? 12 by 12? He decides that
he's like, this kid's a fucking psychopath.
He's a lost cause. This guy's evil.
It does sound crazy to say about a child, but I mean, we see what he's doing and how he is unstoppable and almost not human.
And honestly, I will say this. Unprompted, these types of stories can drain the living shit out of me.
Oh my
However, I hate small talk.
Yeah.
And if I'm talking to someone and they all of a sudden start telling me some deep-seated shit, like, strap me the fuck in. I am ready. Let's talk about it. What was your childhood like?
Yeah.
Tell me everything.
Oh, I love that shit.
Love it.
I also want the tea.
Oh, yeah. Tell me the tea. Tell me all about your family drama.
But there's a type of person, the way they talk about themselves, they're not telling you anything that's that interesting. They're not telling you how they're crazy and
but they think it's interesting.
Right. They're just like, yeah, and then this person wanted to talk to me and this person came up and shook my hand. This happened to me recently at the gym.
Oh, not at the gym.
Yeah. And they were telling me something that wasn't like, if you're telling me a wild story, I'm in, but it wasn't wild. It was just them putting themselves over and I don't even know this person.
Dude.
So I'm just like,
dude,
I'm going to go back to my set that you interrupted.
Okay. Can I also tell you, like, I don't know what it is about my face. And I think it's a blessing and a curse because people my whole life have always felt really comfortable opening up and sharing things with me.
It's 100% your face.
It has to be. People, I think it's warm and inviting.
It's the big eyes.
It's the big eyes. Like, I'm just like, yes, dump your problems on me.
You're innocent and approachable.
But the other day I walked into the post office and I was dropping off a package and I'm in line and I'm waiting and this guy is ahead of me. And for some reason, I don't remember how this even came up, but he started talking about how there are people scamming like those Visa gift cards. And he's like, and then he parlayed that into like just people scamming in general. And I was just like, yeah, I was like, you know what? People like that, they really should just be, and he just looks at me and he goes, shot. And I went,
I thought you were going to say shut up, but that's crazier actually.
Like literally, like I was just like, yeah, people like that should just be, and he's like, shot. I'm like, okay, that's a bit extreme.
You're like, I just have to drop off a package, dude.
Yeah, like that's the only time that I feel like my face is too nice.
I feel bad because I'm not very approachable, and sometimes in line at the grocery store, people will try to say something to me, and I'm nice.
Yeah,
if you actually talk to me, I'm nice, but I'm not. Depending on the situation, sometimes I want to talk, sometimes I don't.
Yeah,
and I'll just be like, I'll like laugh, but then I'm clearly not adding to the conversation, and you can tell they want to talk to me. It's the same thing on a plane. It's weird. Some days I'll sit down and I'll just do that, like smile and nod, but I'm not adding anything because I don't want to talk. Yeah. And then other times people ask me where I'm going and I start telling them everything. This is where I'm going. This is why we're going to a wrestling show. Da da da. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I had more caffeine that day.
It definitely is the caffeine. I think I have this innate feeling I want everyone to be seen and heard. And so no matter what someone's punishing me with, I will just allow them to be seen and heard. Even if it's like, even if I have to leave, even if I'm in a rush, I'm just like, well, this person really needs to talk about it. So tell me.
I'm one of those people that when the flight attendant is giving their spiel for the exit row, I'm like, like I have to show them that I'm paying attention to them. I mean, you're supposed to anyway, but
like to like, it's just like, I am paying attention. You're not just saying, it's not falling on deaf ears.
Exactly.
I hear you. Yes.
But I will like straight up be like, like at the grocery store example, I'll be like, all right, gotta go. Like I will also walk away. But I'm going to acknowledge them. I'm not going to be rude about it.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So we digress. We're good at it. So after Loomis gives him the spiel about Michael being evil, the sheriff just point blank is like, well, then what the fuck should we do? Right? Like, he's like, what should we do? And Loomis tells him that he thinks Michael's going to come back to the house. Loomis also tells the sheriff to advise the other officers to keep their mouths shut. Don't induce panic. Don't cause a commotion, because if he does that, then like they might end up scaring Michael off and they won't be able to actually get him.
Right.
Okay. So the sheriff is kind of like, the sheriff is on the fence here, but he kind of goes along with it. He's like, all right, this sounds like a decent plan. Fine.
It is interesting to hear Loomis say that. I understand where he's going with it, but at the same time, you were trying to instill fear in everyone about Michael, and now you're saying don't tell them about it. Like, don't they need to know how serious this is?
Yeah, I think it's more like don't tell the town folks.
Okay.
And if, when we continue the series, we find out that the town folks of Haddonfield, man, they go on witch hunts.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that is more his idea behind it.
Okay.
So we cut back to Laurie and Tommy, and she's reading him King Arthur, but he's really not into it. Instead, he's like, let me show you all my bomb-ass comics that I hide under the couch. And as they're kind of looking through these comics, he stops and asks Laurie what the boogeyman is. But before she can answer him, the phone rings. And it's Annie. And she's about to tell Laurie some big-ass news, but before she can get it out, Lester, the family dog, starts barking and growling. And we see Michael the creep standing outside watching Annie. So Lester goes outside to check on it. Annie then goes on to tell Laurie that she's going to the homecoming dance with Ben Tramer. And he got super pumped that Laurie likes him. And let me tell you, when you're in high school, honestly, even now, when you find out that a boy likes you that you like.
Oh, yeah.
Dude. Great feeling. Anyway, so Tommy looks outside the window while Laurie's on the phone, and he sees Michael across the street staring at the house. Terrifying, dude. Fucking terrifying.
Hate it.
He backs up. Tommy backs up and tells Laurie, yo, the boogeyman is outside. And Laurie is kind of like, oh my God. So she goes and looks, but of course Michael is gone. We then see Michael standing outside peering in on Annie again. And Annie's making popcorn, and she's got hot butter, and she ends up pouring it on herself, right? And she's like, oh shit, I got to take my clothes off in the kitchen and grab this button-up shirt that's just hanging on a hanger in here. So she puts that on, and she goes out to the laundry room, which is in the shed outside, which maybe that's a 1978 thing. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But she goes out there. When she takes her clothes off, Michael just looks pissed. Because he smacks a plant and walks away.
I mean, think about it. He killed his sister when she was naked after she was upstairs hooking up with someone. So there could be some type of trauma with that.
So is he like Jason, where it's don't you be having any sex around here?
I think so.
Ain't nobody getting horny, no orgasms, no nothing.
And that's weird. They both don't speak. They both hate sex.
Well, they hate sex. You better not be feeling 1 ounce of pleasure.
No.
Ew, pleasure. Okay. So outside, Lester finds Michael and loses his shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Annie's annoyed that the dog is barking. Why you wouldn't be alerted by that, I don't know. I guess she's a teenager. But then we hear the poor puppy starts crying and Michael smothers him.
Yeah.
I hate that part. I always fast forward it.
I'm shocked you like Michael after that.
Listen.
He's wearing a mask.
He's a tall guy with a mask, all right? And he knows what he wants.
The bar's in hell.
The bar is so fucking low, man. So Tommy and Laurie are watching the OG The Thing from Another World, which I love because obviously John Carpenter directed The Thing.
And we've also covered that one.
We sure fucking did. Although The Thing is a closer adaptation to the novella Who Goes There. Laurie looks actually super into the movie. And Tommy kind of starts telling her that Richie told him that the boogeyman is coming for him. And Laurie here is trying to explain to him, like, you know, there's no boogeyman. People just try to scare you on Halloween. She's here. She's going to keep them safe. Right? Which is exactly what you tell an annoying little kid, right? So
I love that you had to throw annoying in there.
You know how much I love kids. So Annie's outside in the laundry room in the shed. In my notes, I go, it's outside. Not sure why. She's going to wash her clothes. We see Michael standing outside the door looking at her. And she notices that someone's out there, but she automatically assumes that maybe Paul snuck out and got away from the house and is there, right? The music is so creepy here. She loads all her shit into the wash, and then the door slams, locking her in the laundry shed.
Fuck that.
She starts calling for Lindsay, but Lindsay is also watching The Thing from another planet and is super into it and does not hear her, right? The phone starts ringing, and it's ringing and ringing and ringing. And Annie's like, Lindsay, answer the phone. It's Paul. You got to answer the phone. Answer it, whatever. She's so desperate to get to the phone to talk to Paul that she opens the window and is like about to climb out of it. Lindsay finally answers the phone. It is Paul. He wants to talk to Annie. Lindsay puts down the phone. She goes inside the laundry room and she finds Annie like half-assed out of the window trying to get out, right?
Yeah.
She's just hanging out the window and she's stuck. There's so much tension here though, because we know that Michael is there somewhere. Michael is right outside and we don't know. Is Annie going to get her fucking head cut off here?
Right.
Is something going to happen to Lindsay? He already killed the dog. He obviously doesn't have an issue killing anything. So they go back inside and Annie gets on the phone with Paul and we see Michael. Oh, it's so creepy. Michael is standing outside and he's just staring at her. There's something about someone watching you, which is one of the reasons why I love Black Christmas. But there's something about someone, and same with When a Stranger Calls. Oh, and Scream. When somebody is watching you and you don't know they're watching you, it's so fucking scary to me. Like, it actually terrifies me.
Oh, yeah. People that just never, I don't know, close their curtains or blinds or anything in their house, that freaks me out.
Dude, okay, so you guys can't see this, and you guys on the audio can't see this, but I'm staring at my glass sliding black door, and there is a giant Michael Myers. Like, nobody is coming near this house. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I keep my blinds closed all the time.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to see anything that I'm doing.
Same.
So, any hoogly boos, we find out that Paul's parents went out for the night, and he wants Annie to come pick him up. So she tries to convince, obviously Annie wants to do this. So she tries to convince Lindsay to go with her to get Paul. And Lindsay's like, I don't want to. I'm watching this fucking movie, man. Like, no. So Annie's like, well, why don't I take you over to Tommy Doyle's house and you can hang out with him? This works. Lindsay's down. Lindsay's like, Tommy Doyle, eh? All right. So as they're walking over to the Doyle's house, Michael pops up from behind a fucking car, dude. He is everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere and nowhere all at once. He's really good at disappearing.
Like, really, all at once. So Annie goes, they get to the house. Annie and Laurie are kind of like bantering. And she tells Laurie she's going to pick up Paul and she's going to leave Lindsay there. And Laurie's so sweet, but she's also kind of a pushover because she's just kind of like, oh, everybody gets to have a great night and I'm here babysitting, right? And we've all felt that at some point, right? Everybody's having a good time and you're at home. Not me. I love being home, but you know.
But you know, sometimes when something's going on, you feel the FOMO.
Yeah, I used to. I don't feel it anymore.
Oh, yeah, not so much.
I love being home.
I love canceled plans.
Dude, right?
Not always, of course.
In the extended, we got to talk about canceled plans in the extended.
Canceled plans, yes. Not always.
Not always. Especially if I'm really excited about something and somebody flakes on me. I don't love that.
Yeah.
But when somebody texts you and goes, hey man, I just don't really feel like I'm feeling it tonight.
Especially when you weren't feeling it and you didn't want to cancel, but they cancel, you're like,
because you feel like you're like, I'm not going to let my friend down. I'm not going to let this person down. And then they're like, I don't really feel like it either. And you're like, yes, I don't have to put on any clothes. I can just be, you know, chilling on my couch wearing these like
the universe,
my Adam Sandler fucking uniform, you know?
The universe is on my side.
It is. So Annie leaves and she's walking to the car, which is in the garage, and she's singing a song about Paul. Oh, Paul. I mean, shit. Like, Paul better be a 10 for her to be this obsessed with him. So she realizes that she's locked out of her car. She walks back to the house to grab the keys. And the tension here is so palpable because we know Michael is somewhere, man. He's already plotted this out. He is like ready to rip, right? He's lurking. So she goes back to the car and now the car is unlocked.
Yeah.
That's a bit sus. She gets in and she immediately notices like, yo, it's kind of foggy in here. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
You know, right? The windows are all fogged up. Michael is in the back seat, dude. He is in the back seat and he starts choking her to death. This goes on for such a long time.
Yeah, I always check my back seat to this day and even my trunk.
Always.
Yeah.
Well, especially hatchback.
Exactly.
Always, dude.
Always.
Always, always. But the scene is so drawn out and long, and there's something about anytime we were watching Scream 4 last night, and anytime there's a kill where the person is super close to you, so whether it's like they're choking you with their bare hands or they're stabbing you at close range, it being so personal, it always really like affects how I feel. Like it really affects me in a way that is so chilling.
Yeah.
You know, and like especially when someone is like strangled, that is so, I don't want to say intimate, but it is. It's
strangling and stabbing. I hate those kills more than others, it seems, in movies.
Yeah. There's just something about the rage of strangling somebody to me that is like so, it just terrifies the shit out of me, man.
Even in like Goodfellas, which isn't a horror, but I guess it depends on how you look at it. At one point, I want to say it's like Joe Pesci when he opens the trunk and just starts shanking this guy real quick. Dude. It fucks me up.
No, I know.
And maybe because it feels real. It's like so bleak.
And you can in your mind imagine what it feels like, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so terrifying. And Annie, as she's dying, like her face falls forward and hits the horn. So now the horn of the car is going off. It's just a really, really fucked up scene. And her face looks like shocked, dude.
Yeah.
It's wild. So we cut back to the Doyle's house and the kids are still watching The Thing from Another Planet or Another World. And Tommy starts messing with Lindsay here, right? It's very like little kid shit. But while that's happening, Michael is outside carrying Annie's corpse, her big old dead body, across the street, just hiking it over his shoulder, right?
Yeah.
And Tommy sees Michael take the body into the house.
Yeah. Like, what do you even do?
As a little kid, number one, that's terrifying. I can't even comprehend how scary that is. Like, do you remember being home alone as a kid?
Yeah.
It was so scary.
I was babysitting my siblings since I was like, I don't know, 11 or something.
So scary.
Yeah. And as a kid, you probably think, I don't know, do you remember seeing adults when you were really, really young and you wouldn't assume they're doing anything wrong?
Right.
So you're just rationalizing like, oh, he must be allowed to do whatever he's doing. I don't know what's happening.
Right. I remember one time, like I was at home with my sister and there was some sketchy shit going outside. And I've always felt so safe with my big sister. Like she's like my protector, right?
Aww.
She went to the kitchen and grabbed a big fat butcher knife and closed all the windows. And I just remember holding the knife up to the blinds and just peering out them. And I remember
that's badass.
Dude, I remember thinking like, ain't nobody ever gonna fuck with me with my big sister around.
Hell
you know?
yeah. Oh, I love that. I hope my sister felt that way about me.
Oh my God.
And still feels that way about me.
I feel that way about you, so I'm sure she
Hell
does.
Yeah.
So anyway, Tommy does freak out, obviously, right? He's pretty hysterical and he runs to Laurie and he tells her, like, the boogeyman's outside, the boogeyman's outside. Laurie thinks he's full of shit. I understand. And he's pretty bummed out that she doesn't believe him. But Lindsay says, I believe you.
Aw.
Which I love.
Yeah.
Especially like when an adult doesn't believe you. I mean, I could go on and on about this. Maybe make a note in the extended. But like when you're a kid and you know what's up and adults, especially ones that you trust or look up to, do not believe what you're saying, it is so devastating.
Yeah.
I really felt for him in that moment.
For sure.
Anyways, but to be fair, kids are very annoying. So I don't know if I'd believe him either.
And I understand why you would be like, okay, it's Halloween. You're seeing things, but it's not what you think it is.
100%. Exactly. So cut back to Loomis hanging outside the Myers house, keeping watch when Richie, Keith, and Lonnie, these are the little assholes from earlier that were messing with Tommy, they show up. And Richie and Keith are egging Lonnie on to go up to the house, right? And Loomis is watching, and Loomis, in this like raspy voice, says, "Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there." And the kids obviously take off, and Loomis has this like very pleased look on his face. Like he's like, "Got him."
Yeah. He's like, oh, my acting skills.
It's so good. So the sheriff shows up behind Loomis, startling him, which I think is just funny. And he tells him, like, there's no signs of Michael. He's not around. And Loomis is like, no. You're mistaken. Like, no, for sure. He's out here.
Yeah.
And the sheriff is like, okay, well, why don't you give me some proof? Because all you're doing is telling me these, like, stories, right? Loomis again starts to spill the tea about Michael. And he goes on to tell him, I treated him for 15 years. He watched Michael sitting in a chair, staring at the wall, but not seeing the wall. Seeing past the wall, looking at this night, inhumanly patient, waiting for some secret silent alarm to trigger him off. Death has come to your little town, Sheriff. You can either ignore it or you can help me to stop it.
So dramatic.
Yo. Okay,
Death
first
has
of all,
come to your town.
That is one of the most iconic lines in the movie. But that whole fucking spiel, when you're the sheriff, I feel like it's so you have to be conflicted there, right? Like you're like, okay, this guy's really adamant, but also like, dude, you also sound unhinged.
Yeah.
Right? So the sheriff is like, this town is really chill, man. Like we're in Haddonfield. Like that shit doesn't really happen here, right? And he does say to him though, just in case you're right though, all right. You know what? I'll go along with this.
Yeah.
You know? But he goes on to say, this line always bothers me. He says to Loomis, if you are right, damn you for letting him go. And straight up, like, buddy, Loomis didn't let him go.
Right.
Loomis didn't let him go anywhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't Loomis's decision to let him out of the fucking sanitarium.
Right.
I don't know. It just bothered me. Like, why are you putting blame on Loomis? Loomis is obviously trying to stop Michael.
Yeah, he didn't even want to move him from one facility to the other.
Yeah, and Loomis has this look. He almost looks like dejected a little bit, or even maybe he does feel guilt. I don't know. It just bothers me, you know? Like maybe he feels responsible for Michael and he feels like he dropped the ball here.
Like guilty that he wasn't able to help him in general.
Yeah. So, any hoogly boos. Linda and Bob pull up to Annie's house. Okay, we're introduced to Bob here, who, okay, I gotta talk about this because there's some things said here that I don't really understand. But Bob says the weirdest fucking line, I think, in movie history. He says something to the effect of ripping Lindsay's clothes off. Lindsay is 10 years old.
Yeah.
And there's a theory about this online, okay? The theory is that the actor flubbed his line and he meant to say Annie, not Lindsay, and somehow this take made it into the final cut.
Yeah.
Other people speculated that it was because he's drunk and he just like doesn't really know what he's saying. But either fucking way, it is a super weird line.
Yeah.
And Bob's glasses are not helping the situation here. Like he is wearing some Dahmer ass,
oh no,
like I eat people kind of glasses.
It was the style of the time.
Oh my God, my trainer Brian has Dahmer glasses, and every time he wears them, I always call him Dahmer. So anyways, Bob and Linda are pretty pumped to be able to get down and dirty at Annie's house. And they go inside and they start making out on the couch while our dear friend Michael is watching them.
Yeah.
Of course. The music, though, is so insane during this. The tension. So back at the Doyle's house, Laurie carries out the carved pumpkin. Ooh, so exciting. And peeks across the street at Annie's and assumes, man, they're having a good time over there.
Yeah, they're fine.
I'm sure they are. They sit down to watch the movie, and the phone rings, and it's Linda. And Linda tells Laurie that Annie is totally not there. One thing I forgot to mention is PJ Souls, as Linda, she says totally before so many of her lines. And I just think it's so like cute and charming.
Yeah.
Like she's totally not here. Yeah. I just love it.
Like it was definitely her personality quirk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Bob and Linda are freaking pumped that Lindsay is gone for the night. They're like, hell yes, let's do this. And we get some shots of outside and it's very quiet. And I know we just covered It Follows, but I really, after watching these movies back to back, I can really see how heavily inspired by Halloween they were. Oh, yeah. And we did talk about that, but like rewatching it, I'm like, oh, I can really see it now. So cut back to Bob and Linda. They are banging. And
to put it lightly,
they are going to Pound Town. The phone rings and like Bob is straight up being a dick here. And I was like, Linda, you got to get yourself a new man.
Yeah.
Like the phone is ringing and eventually Bob takes it off the hook and they start banging again. And we see Michael's silhouette on the wall beside the bed, right? So he's in the house now. They finish and apparently Linda was totally satisfied by Bob. I can't even imagine how, but but I guess she was. Bob doesn't look too thrilled, so maybe he wasn't. I don't know. But the whole vibes were weird.
Yeah.
Linda tells Bob to go get her a beer. So he does. He goes down to the kitchen, keeps all the lights off. I'm assuming so that nobody can see that they're inside the house.
I wonder if they intentionally wanted to reverse the roles because they thought it would be funny. Because she's satisfied, he's not. He's going to get her a beer.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Totally. So, I'm just assuming they kept the lights off so that people like wouldn't see them inside. Either way, it's pretty dark inside. Bob calls for Annie and Paul because he's kind of like, where the fuck are they?
Yeah.
Right? And he can hear something. Like he can hear there's something in the house. So he's just assuming it's Annie and Paul. Maybe that they're just like messing with him, right? And we can hear Michael breathing. So Bob's kind of like walking around and he opens up a closet. Michael walks right out, grabs him by the neck, Undertaker style, and lifts him up in the air like the fucking like a choke slam.
Yeah,
like the AK Taker choke slam.
AK Taker, man.
If
you know, you know.
Oh yeah, this scene, this kill is so. Again, it's so personal. He lifts Bob up into the air, and while he's lifted up in the air, he grabs the butcher knife and guts him with it. And then we see Bob's feet curl under themselves as he's dying. And Michael stands in front of him. And like he's observing a work of art, he stares at him. And for anyone that watched any of my shit on AEW, they will know that the bunny, my character, tilts her head. And where do you think I got that from? My boy, Michael.
Now you know.
Because that's exactly what he does. He stabs him and then observing him, he kind of turns his head side to side and just watches him as he dies.
And he's pinned him to the wall here.
He is pinned to the wall.
That has to be the longest butcher knife in the world to actually go through his body because you can still see a part of the end of the knife, like in the handle. And for that to hold his body up, like...
It's like the exact same knife he had as a boy.
Yeah, for real.
One that was half his body.
It's grown with him, so now it's still half the size of his body.
He was like, I can't do this unless I find the perfect knife. It needs to be the size of my full arm.
Legit.
So then Michael goes upstairs to see Linda, but he's wearing a sheet with Bob's glasses.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think is so interesting about Michael is he loves, you say he has no riz, but as far as I'm concerned, I think he's got a little bit of something here because he finds this whole thing to be a little bit amusing because he messes with these people. And not only that, he stages all of their bodies.
He does stage them, yeah.
He makes a little house of horror for Laurie later.
I don't know if I would qualify that as a riz, but he has...
It's a little bit of charisma.
It's a little bit of, I'll call it a quirk.
Okay, we can lean into quirk.
Okay.
So he's tall, he wears a mask, and he's a little bit quirky.
Just a little quirky.
A little quirky. So he's standing in the doorway and he's got this sheet over him and he's breathing really heavily.
Mm-hmm.
Ew. Linda is like, "Ooh, Bob, you're messing with me? Here are my titties."
As one does.
Right? He doesn't move. He just stands there and just stands in the doorway staring at her. And at first she thinks this is like kind of a game.
It's so creepy.
It's so creepy, like big yikes. She asks him like, "Okay, where's my beer, man? Like, didn't you go get me beer?" He's still not moving or saying anything. And now you can see on her face, she's going from, okay, this is funny, to now I'm annoyed, to now I'm scared.
Yeah.
And you can really see it happen in real time, right? She's starting to look worried. And she tells him that she's going to call Laurie.
Mm-hmm.
But as she dials, he walks into the room. She ends up dialing the phone and calling Laurie. The music is absolutely freaking wild at this point.
Yeah.
Laurie picks up the phone, but as she answers, he grabs the phone cord, wraps it around Linda's neck, and strangles her as she chokes into the phone and dies.
While he's still wearing this sheet and glasses, by the way.
Dude, that is the scariest ghosty I've ever seen.
That would be adding insult to injury to me.
He's like a Dahmer ghost, man.
Yeah.
It's so terrifying. But this is the second or third strangulation, man. He is really all about those up close and personal deaths. Whereas Jason will use any means necessary. Michael is all up in your business when he kills you, man.
Yeah.
So she dies on the phone and Laurie is like calling out for Annie. Right? Because she's like, what is going on? What is going on? Blah, blah, blah. She kind of thinks they're messing with them because remember, Annie was messing with her earlier, right? So she's not really sure what's happening here. Michael picks up the phone and he's just listening to Laurie.
Mm-hmm.
The sheet is off. So we see his crazy ass mask while he's holding the receiver up to his ear. And I don't know, the visual of that is so scary and also hilarious.
The visual of him doing literally anything except walking with a knife is hilarious.
Like it's a mix,
like
right?
imagine him sitting at a dining room table. Like what?
It's a mix of scary and funny.
Yeah.
Mostly scary though, man. He scares me. So Laurie goes upstairs to check on the kids because this is definitely unsettling. It's unsettling to anyone, right?
Yeah.
Back at the Myers house, Loomis is still outside on the lookout and the music kicks in again. And Loomis notices the stolen car that Michael has been driving.
Mm-hmm.
It's like parked, right? So the music kind of keeps playing here. And Laurie goes back downstairs after checking on the kids. And it quiet downs a little bit as she enters the living room and grabs her keys. And she's like, you know what? I'm just going to go over to Annie's and check on things and see what's going on. The piano is it's so tense. Oh, I fucking love it so much. Spooky season is the fucking best, dude. It just rules.
Yeah.
Love it. It's my favorite time of the year. Okay.
Also, the lighting in this movie is just perfect. There's so many great shadows that they use to just instill fear in you when you are trying to look into the darkness and you're trying to make out what you're seeing, but you can't.
Do you want to know why the lighting is the way that it is?
Yes.
Is because they did not have enough money for good lighting.
And that actually worked out in their favor. I know that was one of the qualms that some people had with the remakes is that they were too bright.
They are bright. I mean, there are a lot of things I didn't like about them, but
especially when you compare them side by side, it looks like someone said in the original, you know, it's so creepy when Michael's standing in the doorway and you can just barely make out his mask versus in the remake when you can just clearly see his whole body because the whole room is lit up, that it's not scary. It just looks like a kid that walked into their parents' room and said, I float up.
oh my God. That's so funny because it's so true too, because I mean, think about one of the scariest scenes in the entire movie, which we're about to get to right now. It relies heavily on it being so dark and you slowly seeing Michael, right?
Yeah.
So we're about to get there. So Laurie goes over to Annie's house and she knocks on the door. No one's coming. She walks around the house. She's calling out to her friends. Obviously, nobody is there because they are all dead. She goes in through the back of the house, the back door. And she hears a thud coming from upstairs. And she immediately assumes, oh, they're messing with her.
Right.
They're messing with me, right? She goes upstairs and she makes her way up to one of the bedrooms where there is a light on. Or she can, at least it's the only room in the house that has any light coming from it. Oh boy. When she goes inside, she finds Annie's dead body displayed on the bed with Judith Meyer's headstone at the top of the bed. It's as if it was like Annie's plot, right?
Right.
That's the visual of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a jack-o'-lantern lit next to the bed. See, Michael is all about stage and shit, man.
This was like, very staged. Also, I want to know how heavy that headstone was. I know he's very strong.
He's a big boy.
That has to be heavy.
Oh, he's strong too. Okay. So, I'm just kidding. I'm not. Okay. So, then she turns and Bob's dead body hangs and swings from upside down, swinging in the doorway. Then she turns and Linda's body is dead inside a closet. So Laurie obviously is like in shock. She's scared. She starts silently sobbing. And this is it, she starts to back up. And behind her in the doorway, we start to slowly see Michael's mask appear behind her.
Yes.
It is one of, if not the most terrifying visuals in this entire fucking movie. It's like he's coming out of the shadows at her.
And we will absolutely reuse the word iconic here.
Over and over and over again, baby. So he slices at her and he does end up slicing her arm with a big ass butcher knife, causing her to fall down the stairs. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely insane. The music is unhinged. It's off the walls. She runs to the kitchen. She's trying to get out of the doors, but here he comes. He's right there because there's a rake. He shoved a rake in between the door handle, so she can't get out. He makes his way into the kitchen. He's just about to get at her, but she manages to break a window and get outside. So she's running. She's screaming for help. Somebody help. Somebody help. She runs up to a neighbor's door. She's banging on the door. Please help me. The lights come on. Nobody will come outside to help her. And the distress in her voice, she's yelling, oh God, like the panic. It's so scary and it's so visceral. And I can feel every ounce of her fear during it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's terrifying. So she runs to the Doyle's house and she's screaming because she doesn't have the keys. She can't get in the house. The door is locked. So she starts yelling for Tommy. Tommy, let me in, let me in. He's sleeping. She grabs something. She throws it up at the window. It's like a potted plant or something. Wakes Tommy up. He's kind of rubbing his eyes like, what is it? And she's like, she's so stressed. She's like, you need to open the door. This kid, like, read the room, bro. Come downstairs, man. You've been crying about the boogeyman all night. Maybe he's coming for her, you know?
Oh my gosh. He's like, what, 6 years old?
No, he's probably like 10.
10 years old, you're like, oh, this annoying ass kid.
I mean, to be fair, you know how I feel. Anyway, so eventually, like, but the tension here, because Michael is right on her heels. He is like not running. He ain't chasing. He ain't running. He is walking with a stride like no other. It looks effortless. However, terrifying.
How you're doing this with your arms. It reminds me of, isn't there like an, not Olympic, maybe it is Olympic. It's like speed walking.
That's me. That is me on my park walks every single day looking like Michael Myers met the Terminator.
Hell yeah.
So eventually Tommy does get to the door, unlocks it. She runs inside, closes the door. This front door, the only lock on this front door is the door handle.
Yeah. Did they not have deadbolts at the time?
It's 1978, so I feel like it wasn't as like, you know, it was during that time where people probably weren't as afraid of, you know, people slept with their windows open in the summer, right? Couldn't be me, man. I have like 12 locks on my door. So any hoogly boos, she knocks the phone off the hook and then notices that there's an open door in the living room.
I can also confirm deadbolts became popular like before the 50s or like within the 50s. So yeah, it must have been just like, oh, we don't need one. We're a nice little small town.
It does track with Haddonfield. Like there's nothing bad happening in Haddonfield, right? So she notices this door is open and she's kind of like behind the couch. She grabs a knitting needle and stabs Michael in the neck with it. Mm-hmm. She then grabs his knife and she sees that he's fallen backwards. She peers over the couch to like look behind it. And then she kind of slumps back because Michael has like chilled out at this point.
Yeah.
And she tosses the knife. Don't ever toss the knife, all right?
Yeah.
You keep that knife on you, girl.
Yeah, that's when I start screaming at the screen, what are you doing?
Don't drop the knife. Meanwhile, Loomis is walking around the neighborhood looking for Michael, as he does, when the sheriff pulls up behind him. Loomis tells the sheriff that he found the car that Michael likely used to get to Haddonfield, right?
Mm-hmm.
As this is happening, Laurie goes upstairs to Tommy and Lindsay, and she tells them that they're going to go for a walk. But just as she's telling them that she's killed him, she's like, don't worry, guys, it's all safe. I took care of it. Michael appears behind them, and the music starts up again.
Yeah.
It's insane. Laurie then runs. The kids go back into the room, lock the door. She runs into another room, opens the balcony doors to give the impression that she's jumped off the balcony and ran away, right?
Yeah.
But she hides in the closet. And the closet has those like shutter doors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I said in my notes, the hair on his mask looks like bedhead at this point.
He's been through some shit. He's been killing a lot of people.
Yeah, they've had a rough time.
Yeah.
I guess lifting those bodies up kind of messes your hairdo a bit.
The shutter closet doors is also a huge trope in horror, and I wonder if it started here as well.
Oh, yeah, I would say so for sure. So Michael goes into the room, and he walks straight to the closet. He does not think for a second that she went over that balcony, right? And he starts rattling the doors. And then all of a sudden, he bursts through the door with that big-ass butcher knife. Laurie is, like, crouched against the wall, like, sitting, and she starts, like, kind of lifting up, and she grabs a hanger and starts straightening it out. The light also in the closet turns on. And the visual of Michael swishing his arm around.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's so scary.
Yeah.
It's so fucking scary, dude. But she reaches up and stabs him in the eye with the coat hanger, and he drops the knife.
Mm-hmm.
He starts to fumble back, and he falls onto the floor. She gets out of the closet, and she walks around Michael's body. Michael's not moving. He's just laying there, okay? She gets to the hallway, and she tells Tommy and Lindsay to go to the Mackenzie's house.
Yeah.
Which, when we covered Scream, we talked about them mentioning the Mackenzies in Scream. It was a little homage to Halloween, right? She says, call the police, go to the Mackenzies, call the police, and then tell them to come here. Laurie is basically catatonic at this point, all right? She's sitting against the wall, like kind of like the opening of the door. She's kind of sitting there, she's kind of catching her breath, kind of like, what the fuck just happened? And she sits on the floor. And Michael, in the background, sits up Undertaker style. It is, I can imagine seeing this for the very first time in 1978, the entire theater losing their absolute shit when he sat up.
When he just sits straight up like that.
Oh, I love it. I could be wrong here, but this is where the Undertaker got that from, I would imagine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And he did say he drew significant inspiration from Michael Myers and other horror characters.
I love it. Undertaker. So
it's funny to say he sat up Undertaker style. Really, Undertaker sitting up Michael Myers style.
Yeah. It's so true. So true. So she starts to get up, and Michael now rises to his feet. And as she's walking, and I mean, like, when I say walking, it's like she's mummy style kind of walking. Like, when someone has just been through a lot. Michael stalks behind her, and then all of a sudden grabs her and starts choking her. Okay? As this is happening, Loomis runs into the house, sees this happening, and Laurie manages to rip Michael's mask off. And for a split second, we do see Michael's face here. And it's the only time we see Michael's face.
And the whole franchise.
Whole franchise, yes. And it's only for a second.
Yeah, and he's kind of covering it too, right? For like trying to.
He's like trying to cover it, yeah. And when you watch part 2, they cut his face from part 2, which I think is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Also, how funny is it that she stabs him in the eye in part 1, because she ends up, spoiler alert for part 2, shoots him in the eyes.
Oh, yeah, baby. I have that toy upstairs with the eyes bleeding.
Yeah.
Loomis starts shooting at Michael. The first time, he seems unfazed by the shot. But what's happening is every shot he takes, he's stumbling backwards. Loomis ends up shooting him 6 times, and Michael stumbles all the way back and falls off the balcony, and we see him lying on the ground.
And if you forget how many times that he shoots him, don't worry. He's going to tell you 75,000 times in part 2.
Oh, you'll be reminded many, many times. Laurie looks at Loomis. Oh my God, my notes corrected his name to Loomy.
Loomy. Oh, that's cute.
Laurie looks at Loomis and tells him that was the boogeyman.
Mm-hmm.
And Loomis confirms it was, in fact, the boogeyman. Loomis then goes to check on Michael's body, but dun dun dun, it's gone. And the fucking music kicks in, baby.
Oh, I just got chills thinking about it. The music.
Loomis looks shocked. Laurie is sobbing. And then Loomis looks out into the night. And then we just get these still shots of all the areas in the house, outside, and then we get the Myers house. And we hear Michael breathing behind the mask.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Halloween. And that is it, baby.
Oh, shit.
What a movie.
We also covered part 2. So if you haven't listened to that episode yet, this would be a great time to go right into it because part 2 is going to start off right where part 1 ended.
Yeah, right into it, which I love.
Yeah. So even a little bit of that very, very ending we talk about in the beginning of part 2.
Hell yes. Would you like to hear some fun facts about the movie?
Of course I would.
Okay, so obviously this is an iconic movie, which we have stated many times. And the Halloween purists or experts probably know a lot of these facts, but some people might not.
Sure.
So one of the fun ones, I think, is the mask.
Yes.
Which most people know, but let's just go into it. So Tommy Lee Wallace was the production designer, and he created 2 versions of Michael's mask. Okay, the first one was a Don Post Emmett Kelly smiling clown mask that they attached frizzy red hair to.
Oh, that would have changed everything.
So they did screen test it. They tested it, and it did appear very like demented and creepy. But the other mask was a 1975 Captain Kirk mask that was purchased from a costume shop on Hollywood Boulevard for $1.98. They ripped off the eyebrows and the sideburns. They painted it like a bluish white. The hair was spray painted brown. And the eyes were opened up more. And that, of course, is the iconic mask that they went with.
Yes.
John Carpenter is quoted as saying that hiring Jamie Lee Curtis was the ultimate tribute to Sir Alfred Hitchcock, who, if you don't know, casted Jamie's mother, Janet Leigh, in Psycho. And actually, apparently around the same time of Halloween, Universal Studios and director Richard Franklin were trying to cast Jamie Lee in Psycho 2. So, kind of interesting. I actually like Psycho 2.
I don't know if I've ever seen it. I'm really big, apparently, on not watching sequels. There are a lot of sequels I need to watch.
It's fair because sometimes sequels obviously don't hit the same way.
But sometimes the second one, it's always the second one too, that'll be better than the first or one that people remember more fondly.
So true. Yeah, absolutely. So the story of Michael Myers' Halloween is based on an experience John Carpenter had in college touring a psychiatric hospital where he met a child who stared at him with a look of evil, and it totally terrified him.
Damn.
I know. The original script was entitled The Babysitter Murders. And instead of it all being happening on one night, they actually had it on several nights, but because of budgetary restraints, they decided to do it all on one night. And that way they wouldn't need like multiple sets of wardrobe and they could just like contain it a little bit better. And the title was changed to Halloween because it's the scariest night of the year.
Yeah. And it's all taking place on Halloween. That's so interesting. Of all the little things that changed for one reason or the other that made it what it is today. And I can't imagine it being, I mean, it would have been iconic either way, but I just can't imagine it being what it is if they had those little things like him being a clown instead.
No, I know.
Or it not just being Halloween or on Halloween, you know?
Yeah. And I also like, there's a couple other little things that I'm going to say. I have more tidbits, but one thing I want to say, I want to put over Deb Hill because I feel like when people think of Halloween, they immediately think of John Carpenter, who is a legend, and we love John Carpenter.
Yeah.
But Deborah Hill had a huge influence on this movie. She co-wrote it. She is, in my opinion, just as important. And I feel like if you love this movie, please acknowledge that Deb Hill had a huge hand in it.
Yeah.
And part 2. And I want to say even part 3. I think we've talked about that.
I can't remember offhand.
But she's just as important. And I don't know. I guess like I love John Carpenter, but I just want people to know that Deb was also so big, such a big part of this film and its success.
Deborah Hill was a co-writer and producer for Halloween 3 as well.
Yeah, there you go. So, okay, a couple of fun things about Donald Pleasance. He apparently was paid $20,000 for 5 days of work.
And this was Loomis, right?
Yes, exactly. And he is quoted as saying, "I don't know why I'm in this movie, and I don't know who my character is. The only reason I'm doing this movie is because I have an alimony to pay, and my daughter in England is in a rock and roll group, and she said that the music that John Carpenter did for Assault on Precinct 13 was really cool." John Carpenter also found out that Donald Pleasance simply wanted to test him when they first started working together because he had the most experience out of everyone on set. He was like pretty much a legend at this point, right? But eventually they did end up working really well together and they had a great relationship, et cetera, et cetera. But at first, I think it just sounds like Pleasance just was not sold on the character of Dr. Loomis, which is crazy because it ended up being one of his most iconic roles. Yeah. You know, it's funny how that like worked out. And he's simply brilliant and amazing.
I do think about stuff like that all the time. If I want to turn something down, I always think about how like you literally never know where one choice, where one booking, where one whatever can take you.
Change your whole life.
Yeah.
John Carpenter also had approached Peter Cushing and Sir Christopher Lee to play the role of Dr. Sam Loomis. Both turned them down because the budget was so low. But Christopher Lee later said it was the biggest mistake he had ever made in his career.
Damn.
That was interesting. And what else can I tell you about this one? According to the crew, Donald Pleasance had consumed 2 bottles of wine before doing the scene where he had where he's in the car with the nurse, where he's talking about Michael. Director John Carpenter was worried that he would be incomprehensible and had a talk with the actor beforehand. But to the crew's amazement, obviously Pleasance pulled it off and was fucking fantastic.
Yeah. I was not going to guess that was the scene he drank 2 bottles of wine for.
No, I know, right? And then John Carpenter specifically wrote the role of Linda for PJ Souls after seeing her performance in Brian De Palma's Carrie.
Nice.
Hell to the motherfucking yeah. And one last fun one. The stabbing sound effect is actually a knife stabbing a watermelon.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say pumpkin.
And that is all I've got on Halloween.
I have one fun fact, and it's not even about the movie.
Okay, tell me.
I just want to let you all know that a standard granite upright headstone often is between 100 and 400 pounds.
Wow. So Michael is very strong.
Very strong. Though customs can be heavier than that as well. So that's crazy. Imagine him just picking up a 400-pound headstone and putting it on that bed.
I mean, I can see it.
You're like, I'd be sold.
Like,
pick me up like that.
You're not wrong, AK. You're not wrong.
Well, shit.
So I feel so happy right now talking about this movie.
You fucking killed it.
Oh no, you did. You did. Like
I was a cheerleader for this one. Like, yeah, get it.
It's a team effort, my friend.
Hell yeah.
This movie, I love this movie with like everything in my heart. I watch it several times a year. It's one of my comfort movies. It's up there with Scream. I watch it every October, obviously, usually on Halloween. Normally, I do like a binge. I'll watch a whole bunch of the Halloween movies on Halloween night.
And now maybe y'all can too, because this is our Halloween week episode.
Yay! Binge them all, baby. Thank you so much for listening. You can follow us on social media at Chainsaw Girls Pod. We're on TikTok and Instagram. We also have an email address, chainsawgirlspod@gmail.com. You can also watch the episodes on YouTube. We drop every Monday at noon. It is a premiere. You can watch along with the rest of the people watching. Sometimes we hop into the chat. It's a very fun time. If you haven't already, please give our podcast a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast. It really does help it grow. And right now, we are going to shout out our top tier patrons. We do have a Patreon. We love you guys so much. Here we go. Take it away, AK.
All right. We got Devin C, Angel R, Jolene, David G, John M, Jonathan W, Rob V, David T, Heather D, Franchise Driller, John W, Millie C, Adrian G, Chris S, Alexis T, Adam VL, and James C. I swear that list is getting longer.
Oh my God.
We love it.
And we love it so much. You guys are the freaking best. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Okay, bye.